This is the new Porsche Cayman, but have Porsche made it awesome again? You see, the Cayman's a little bit like Burberry. When it first came out, it was pretty cool, everyone liked it. But then it went through this period of being a bit turbocharged and chavvy. But now, you don't just have to have it with a 4-cylinder turbo. You can get it with a 4-litre, naturally aspirated, flat 6. Now, I'm going to find out just how good this car is by doing some serious motoring journalism. I'm Matt Watson, and you're watching CarWow.
Buying a new car? Then head to CarWow, and my team will help you find your next car at a fair price. CarWow, your one-stop car buying comparison site.
Let's start off by talking about the price, because the Cayman is the cheapest Porsche you can buy. It's a bit odd when you consider that it's probably the best Porsche you can buy. Oh well, still not really cheap anyway, it's a Porsche after all. It starts from £46,000, though this GTS is £64,000. It's like they just got the two numbers and flip them around. If you want to check out the latest Porsche offers through CarWow, just click on the pop-out banner up there. Link will take you straight there to our website, or you can follow the link below the video. Now, if you'd rather watch this video first then do it later, you can just simply Google "Help Me CarWow," and my team and I will help you choose the right car for you and get it for a fair price from one of our trusted dealers. Let's talk about the design. It's a 718 Cayman, good-looking two-seater coupe, and being a Porsche, it's got real exhaust. Oh yes, people, I am going to poke a Porsche with a stick. Look real. I think this diffuser is a little less real, but it all looks fine. Oh, and you've got a poppy-uppy spoiler there, and the Porsche badge very big on the back so that everyone knows. Moving around the side, it's a nice shape. Because this is the GTS, you get these satin black wheels. Really nice, 20 inches. You also get just one strake in the air vent there, which feeds air into the mid-mounted engine. Sleek, low car, and look, you've got your badging down the side for this GTS model. Slightly different on lower spec cars. The front bumper isn't quite so aggressive. I like it on this GTS. It's got a bit more purpose to it. It's a nice looking car. This paint though, this green paint, if you like it, it's going to cost you over £1,000. It's an option. Anyway, let's check out the interior. Alrighty then. These Caymans have an awesome driving position. You sit nice and low. There's enough adjustment that even if you've got quite long legs, you should be fine. How about if you're a tall person? Well, you should just about be okay as well. The steering wheel does move enough so you can have it exactly where you want it. I love the driving position in these things, and it feels properly sporty the way you have this central tunnel here. I think what's nice as well, an old-fashioned analog rev counter and speedometer. Though you do have the digital option there, and then there's a separate digital screen which has sat-nav and stuff like that in it on the right. I prefer this than the dials that are fully digital in the new 911. Not so keen on the old infotainment system though. It looks a little bit archaic, but it's good to have buttons for things like your fan speed and stuff like that, so you can just quickly do it when you're driving rather than faffing around in a screen. As for storage, not going to expect much, but we should tick it off. No, big bottles ain't going to fit there. You can fit them in the glove box, which is actually a decent size, and look, you've got a USB socket in there. I like this, the way Porsche deals with cup holders. There's one there for the passenger as well. There's a bit of storage under here, which is pretty pointless, but you can put your mobile phone in there, and look, you've got a USB socket there as well. The quality, Porsches just feel so solid, and the materials are lovely. In this GTS, you get Alcantara on the seats and on the body panels, which is really nice. This one has an upgrade package for the interior, which includes leather on the dash and this carbon fibre effect there. One thing I have noticed though that I'm not so keen on is the stitching on here is wonky. I think that's the first time I've seen wonky stitching in a Porsche. Let's move on to the boot. Actually, I mean the fruit, the front boot. So the capacity is 150 litres, which doesn't sound like much, but there is room for, I've only got 2 of them, but you can fit 3 carry-on size suitcases. And I'm a bit like a cat, that I like to get into like empty boxes and stuff like that. So there's room for a human in here as well, sort of. God, this is supposed to be proper car review, sorry. Let's go to the proper boot, the one at the back, which is 270 litres, but there's something you need to know about it. I'll just shut that. Look, you see, the issue with this boot, I've got to find the blooming key. Where is the... It's always in the last pocket you check in, and the most awkward one to get to. Anyway, the boot has this space here, which is good, but you can only fit one of these suitcases in there. There's more room here, and that is included in your quoted 270 litres. But you can't really put too many things there, especially not if they're heavy, because if you brake, they will slide through into the cabin. Really, the boot on a Toyota Supra is more useful than this area here. And if you click on that little pop-out banner there, should be popping out now, you can watch my in-depth video review of the Toyota Supra, the new 2-litre version no less. And that brings me on to 5 annoying things about the Porsche Cayman. Some basic bits of kit, which should be standard and is on most cars, you have to pay extra for. Just simple, basic cruise control, £228. You want front and rear parking sensors, 600 quid. If you don't want the old-fashioned xenon headlights and you want more modern LEDs, which most cars now have, £1,400. While the Cayman is great, the Boxster is exactly the same car, though you have the added benefit of being able to enjoy it with the roof off as well, which is great if you're taking a friend out. Now, if you read Autocar, you might find out that the actual handling balance on this is ever so slightly better than on the Boxster, but really, if that's the case, you haven't got any friends to travel with anyhow. While this car has Apple CarPlay, there's no Android Auto. Why do people such as myself get treated like second-class citizens on certain Porsches? It's just not fair, it's just blatant phonism. Oh, I really want to see this new engine in this car, but there's no way to. All you can see is that. If you want to see the engine, you have to get it up on a ramp, and that's usually a bad sign if you're having to do that, and then you don't want to see the engine because it can be very expensive to fix. Even though you can get the Cayman with the all-important sports exhaust with the sports button, if you have one of the 4-cylinder models, it never sounds great. In fact, they sound like this.
Don't worry, there's still plenty to like about this car. Here's the carwow 5 core features.
However, if you get the GTS model, its naturally aspirated flat 6 sounds like this. Yeah, they're good! The GTS also gets adaptive dampers as standard with a softer setting. Also rides 10mm low to the ground than the standard Cayman. The GTS also gets bigger brakes than the entry-level Caymans for improved stopping power, and you can upgrade them to carbon ceramics if you've got an extra £5 spare. Unlike with many modern sports cars, you can get the Cayman with a manual gearbox. Sorry. You can also get a limited slip differential across the rear axle, and that's really handy when you find yourself on a skid pan with snow on it. Feel like a German ice skater, but I don't know the names of any German ice skaters. Sorry, German people. I'm sure you're very good at ice skating. Right, that's enough of that. Now let's see what this Cayman is like to drive normally on the road. To live with every day, these are actually pretty good. Having the adaptive dampers does help just smooth off the bumps. I don't think this car glides over imperfections in the road quite in the same way that something like an Alpine 110 does. And if you click on the pop-out banner up there, I've done a little link to my video review of that car. It's worth checking out actually. There's also a link below the video if you're not seeing that banner. Anyhow, this is a very easy car to drive and live with every day. The automatic will be better if you're using it as a daily, just because you won't have to be changing gears in town, but when you're not in town, the manual is absolutely gorgeous. Also, the placing of the pedals is really good, so you can heel and toe. I'll do it now, even in wellies. However, if you're struggling a bit because your footwear is a bit silly, then you can actually put it into auto blip mode where it will just downshift for you automatically. And the gearbox on this, it's an absolute joy. Even when you're going slowly, you can extract pleasure from just shifting gears. There is one thing about the gears. It's just that they're a little bit long. For instance, I am in second gear, I'm doing almost 50 miles an hour, and I'm doing 4,500 RPM. I've got another like 2,500 RPM to play with, which means that you don't really get the opportunity that much to totally wind this car up in second gear. Oh, it's a bit of a shame that, because you don't really then get to hear the engine sing fully unless you are on a track still. It sounds good, even at lower revs. Thank God for that. There's another great thing about this naturally aspirated engine, and it's a throttle response. You just think about flexing your right foot and the car instantly responds. It's luscious. You don't get that with a turbo engine. It's so good. And it all works so well with this fabulous chassis. The chassis in this car has so much poise and balance. It just grips and gives you loads of confidence. Oh, it's wonderful. And the steering, super responsive. You can really feel what's going on underneath you. You're just so connected to the car. I absolutely love it. I actually think it feels a bit better to drive than the 911, though. God, I can't believe I said that. But it's true. Now, I'd rather have a 911 just because it's a 911, but really, objectively, this is better. This car's supposed to do 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds, but let's see what I can do on this damp surface in my wellies. Excuses, excuses. Come on. Not bad. Come on, traction. Get into second and just let it wind up. Well, there we go. 0 to 60 in 5.1 seconds. Not too bad at all, considering. However, if you want reliable launches in the wet and to go much quicker than that, you want a Porsche 911 Turbo S. Click on the pop-out banner up there to watch the video. So then, what's my final verdict on the Porsche Cayman? Should you go right ahead and buy it? Should you go right ahead and buy it? Should you go right ahead and buy it, or should you just go right ahead and buy it? Well, I reckon you should just go right ahead and buy the Porsche Cayman, especially the 4-litre GTS. I hope you'll enjoy the video. If you did, please give it a like. If you click on that video window there, you can watch a Cayman race against a Toyota Supra. And if you click on that video window there, you can watch a Porsche 911 Turbo S destroy some other cars. And if you click on that box there, you can go to CarWow to see how much money you can save on a new car.